Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Welcome to the SMU Imagine Better cover coffee book launch. This is a very, very special day, not because it's just a launch, but because it culminates 9 months worth of hard, meaningful work for students, alumni, and the staff of the university. Now, why is it meaningful? This book is meant really to raise funds for many of our students who are really in financial need. We know that actually in SMU, about 1 in 5 actually are a financial need here. So this afternoon, we're actually going to be launching this book to celebrate that event. My name is Bervin Lee, and I'm the Director of the Office of Alumni Relations. But today, I'm just going to be your host. Joining us later today, we will also have our chairman, Mr. Ho Kwan Ping. He'll be coming on live in a short while to give us nuggets of his wisdom, to share his thoughts. Now, we all know that Mr. Ho is undeniably the man who has been involved and been very closely associated with this university from the get-go. So Mr. Ho will join us in a very short while. There are 3 segments today in the launch. The first segment, each hosted by alumnus and entrepreneur, but the first segment is called Through the Eyes of. Now, this is where we will hear the student authors, 3 of them, sharing their experiences in putting this book together. And then the second segment is called Purposeful Pursuits. Now, this is where the alumni in Singapore will actually helm this one, and they'll be playing a game called Never Have I Ever. Please stick around for that one. It'll be fun. The third segment we call Beyond Our Shores, and this is where our overseas alumni will actually come on to actually share their experiences and to actually really have a very nice, cozy fireside chat with us. Now, throughout this whole 2 hours you're going to be with us, please remember to share, to participate, send your likes, send your hearts, just get it out there and really show the support for the hard work as well as for the people whose lives and stories are being celebrated today. Now, before we get on, I'm just going to bring on the president of the Singapore Management University, Professor Lily Kong, because she's got some words to share with us. Professor Kong.
Hi everyone, my name is Lily Kong and I'm president of SMU. SMU started as a small university, and today we have 27,000 alumni all over the world. One of the key characteristics of SMU is for our community to be able to come together and rally, whether it's in difficult times like COVID-19 or in celebratory times like our 20th anniversary celebrations. We hope that you will continue to support the Alumni Community Fund. This is alumni effort in support of the university. Thank you very much, and we hope that you will continue to lend your support.
All right, thank you, Professor Kong. Now, we're going to bring on our chairman, Mr. Ho, in a short while. But before I do that, let me introduce to you the man who's going to be sitting with him and taking us through this segment. He is none other than Terence. Now, those of us who know Terence is also CEO of Emergenetics Asia Pacific. We call him Mr. Emergenetics sometimes. He is also the president of the MCM alumni group. He an alum himself. I believe it was the MCM of 2013. He is a member of the Alumni Advisory Council and a member of the Alumni Community Fund Group. The man actually who mooted this whole idea of putting this Imagine Better book together, and look where we've got to now. So over to you, Terence, and take us through the segment. Go for it.
Thank you very much, Bervin, for your very kind introduction. And hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to this really meaningful event. Now, 2 years ago in 2018, we formed the SMU Alumni Imagine Better Steering Committee, really to rally the alumni to come together as one community to support the university's vision of Imagine Better. Now, last year, we launched the SMU Alumni Community Fund. We did this again to create opportunities for fellow alumni to come together as one collective network so that we can support the university's endeavors, which also includes supporting SMU's underprivileged students. This year, as we celebrate SMU's 20th anniversary milestone, I'm really happy to share that we have about 180 donors who have collectively contributed close to $465,000, bringing us very close to our target of $500,000. So one of the fundraising initiatives for the Alumni Community Fund, driven by the Alumni Imagine Better Steering Committee, is the Imagine Better coffee table book. And when I first mooted the idea of the book, based on the concept of Imagine Better, to share stories of SMU alumni who are imagining better through making meaningful impact in their own ways, the committee, as well as the SMU Office of Advancement, through the support behind it. Now, that was more than a year ago. So following rounds of discussion and brainstorming, and as more SMU alumni, students, and staff came forward to lend their expertise and resources, the idea for the book got better. More than a year later, we are here today, marking the moment we turn imagination into reality. So the Imagine Better book represents many things to me. It represents imagination and perspiration, hope and inspiration, innovation and resolution. Now, it also represents to me community and giving. The book features 112 SMU alumni from across 18 cohorts, whose 103 stories are told through the lens of 38 SMU current students. Now, I hope that you will buy a copy of the book today, knowing that you will be directly supporting students who are financially challenged. For a project as massive as this, there are many people that I wish to thank for making this fundraising book a reality. So my fellow members of the Alumni Imagine Better Steering Committee, led by Chairperson Jeannie Lee, fellow members Lee Kang Wee, Ben To, Vanessa Yong, Patrick Ng, Jovan Yo, Benjamin Loh, Yo Ing Hao, and Ian Lam. The university staff team, in particular SMU President Professor Lily Kong, Provost Professor Tim Clark, the Office of Advancement led by Wai Ling, include Florence, Sam, Natasha, the Office of Alumni Relations led by Bervin, and many, many others. Of course, the 38 student authors and the production team led by alumni Tiziana. And all 111 of you fellow alumni who joined me in coming forward to share your stories, and for many others for your generous donation to the Alumni Community Fund. Last but not least, our SMU Chairman, Mr. Ho Kwon Ping, who had journeyed with us on this project right from the beginning through the past year. He launched the Alumni Community Fund at the Alumni Homecoming 2019, gave a forward to the book, and will be launching the book in a moment's time. So before I invite Mr. Ho to join us on screen, please allow me to show you a very short video clip. Please enjoy.
On this important 20th anniversary of the founding of SMU, we've launched the Imagine Better campaign. We want to imagine a better world for all our students, a better world for SMU in the future. And the Imagine Better campaign is to raise funding so that we can achieve, among the many goals, a university which is totally needs blind, so that every single student who qualifies for the university will be able to be fully funded through the university's entire stay. I urge everybody to get a copy of the book. There are so many interesting, exciting, and inspiring stories about our own alumni. It will be a historic memento for the future.
So let's all say hello to Mr. Ho. Mr. Ho, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for taking time to be with us today.
No.
So, we are going to be launching the Imagine Better book in a very short while. So I thought it'd be really nice for us to just explore the theme of Imagine Better. And not many of us get the opportunity to sit you down for a good 10 minutes or so. So I really, really want to take as much from you from this conversation as possible. So let's begin. We talk about Imagine Better. So I'd really like to hear from you. What does Imagine Better mean to you, Mr. Ho?
Well, Terence, I've been involved with SMU a long time. And so there have been, things like how do we set up the logo for SMU, the name, so on. And Imagine Better is followed more or less the same process. A few years ago, or less than a few years ago, maybe about a year or so ago, we all got together and we thought it's going to be the next 2 decades of of SMU? What can we think about to challenge ourselves? Something short and snappy that could encapsulate everything that we wanted to be in the next decade or two. And after a long process of lots of different kinds of words, we felt Imagine Better really encapsulated it, because it meant that we continue to aspire for more things. We are not complacent. We imagine a better world. We imagine better lives for all of us. So the two words are critical. The word imagine is, we all know that imagining is not enough. You have to execute. But at the same time, the power of imagination, the ability to look beyond the present, the striving to be creative and thinking out of the box, that is all encapsulated within the word imagine. And better means a better life for all of us, a better career for the student who's graduating, a better Singapore. So putting the two together, we really felt it summarized everything that SMU wants to be in the next 2 decades.
Fantastic. So imagining better, really thinking about making a better world, but at the same time, also taking action. Now, when we talk about taking action, you certainly are a man of action. Your career has spanned across many very interesting, portfolios in different roles. So when we think about imagining better, to really create a better world, there could be challenges, right, along the way as we try and take action to turn imagination into reality. So, the kind of challenges that you have faced in your life, how did you overcome some of these challenges? Give some inspiration.
I was just saying to you earlier, remember that right now, I'm just imagining lots of tourists coming back to our hotels because there are none right now. And that would be you take a strong leap of imagination to think of that day coming. But of course, we have to work very hard to try to get that future to become a reality. That's just one example. COVID-19 is just one of many challenges I've had, from the tsunami to the great, the global financial crisis and so on. I think the main takeaway for all of us, for myself, for Singaporeans, Singapore as a whole, for SMU, and even all our alumni out there, is that you're going to be continually hit by all kinds of problems that you've never expected. To the same extent that this COVID-19 was something that we all knew was going to happen, like the great earthquake in San Francisco. It's going to happen, but it hasn't happened for so many years. You become complacent. So the two words that really I bear in mind as a lesson is complacency and resiliency. Never be complacent. Even when things are going on with your own private career. All SMU students out there who are doing very well, alumni that are doing very well, never be complacent. Something's going to hit you. And at the same time, always be resilient, because there are going to be problems. And that's been the whole story of SMU too, as we've had many challenges of our own.
Yeah, so never be complacent and always be resilient. So do you feel that with this too, I would say that these are more like a mindset, isn't it? Kind of like mindsets that you need to have to overcome challenges, regardless of what life throws at you. But what were some lessons that you learned overcoming challenges? Obviously, not being complacent and having that resilient mindset is important. But were there some lessons that you have learned over the period of time in life, as you overcome different challenges to make imagine better into reality?
I think one of the major lessons is really the need to remain optimistic. My wife likes to say that I'm the world's greatest optimist. Frankly, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you had better be optimistic, because a lot of things can just discourage you. That would be one of the lessons I have. Resiliency is one aspect of it, but optimism, you have to believe that things will get better. Because there will be times when you will ask yourself, I should just give up. Many of us have thought we might just as well give up. And resiliency is one, but the ability to be optimistic, that is also an act of imagination. So imagining better is also an attitude of optimism.
Yeah, so I think optimism is clearly what we all need at this point in time as we navigate into the uncertain future. So we talked a little bit about mindsets. What about skill sets? Are there specific skill sets that you think we need to, overcome challenges or to transform, our imaginations into reality?
I think there's two, and this is a big plug for SMU because I think we are.
Well, you're chairman of SMU, so I will.
I think we are. Well, you're all alumni, so we can all revel in our own self-congratulatory pats on the back. But I think there really are two aspects of it, and one aspect is the ability to have people skills, to have EQ, to have a holistic view of things, so that as we all know the mantra, right, about how the fourth industrial revolution is going to cause, and AI is going to cause, and fintech and law tech and all that is going to cause a lot of skills to become obsolete. That whole story we know. And I think to the extent that COVID-19 has actually been a crisis, it will accelerate that trend in every single area. So the need to remain holistic, to have fundamental people skills, and to have a helicopter view of the whole world, that's super critical. On the other hand, the other thing that SMU is very strong in is in our bringing together computing skills together with the humanities. So we will have law and computing, and we will have accountancy and computing skills, so that you can talk until the cows come home about how you have a holistic view of things. But if you don't basically know even basic coding, and you don't even understand what is happening with technology, then all the humanism in the world isn't going to take you very far. So it's the marriage of the ability to have the best of what the humanities can give us, together with some at least fundamental skills of technology. Combining those two together give us, I think, a really very strong skill sets to navigate the future.
Very nice. So people skills, and then being holistic and marrying the different kinds of skills that you can. It sounds very much that we should all begin to think about going back to SMU and enroll into.
Exactly. That's why you should go and do your master's degree and your PhD there, right?
So we have now explored the theme of Imagine Better, which really is the title of the book that we are launching in a short while. But I want to talk about something else. Mr. Ho, because you wear many hats, as mentioned. So you were formerly a journalist. These days you give lectures. I think you have 2 books, compendiums of all your essays, as well as your speeches made into one. So you are not a stranger to storytelling. And obviously the book that we're launching today essentially is about storytelling, telling stories about the alumni. So I'd like to hear your views about storytelling. Why is storytelling important, especially in today's day?
I think storytelling and abstract ideas are the two sides of the coin. As mankind progresses, we develop, better concepts, better philosophies, better ideas, and a lot of these are in abstraction. And that is the growth of knowledge. But how do you impart knowledge to people? It's through storytelling. Storytelling has emotion. Storytelling is about us as a community. And knowledge does not just exist in the rarefied libraries of other universities in the world. We only transmit values, emotions through storytelling. So, I was very encouraged and very excited about what you are all doing with this book, mainly because if you were going to have a dry book about SMU values and what we try to do, etc., it becomes another propaganda book about SMU. But when you tell stories about the people there, and particularly the storytelling is done by students about alumni, you come back and create a whole circle that I think is extremely powerful, extremely compelling. And because it tells stories, people remember the values that they encompass, rather than just a dry set of ideas.
Well, this particular book that we'll be launching today, really it's an effort by a lot of alumni, and as well as current students, as well as the staff from the university itself. What are your thoughts about this particular ambitious fundraising project?
I've always felt that there are 3 pillars to a great university. And we have 2 of them already, even in our very short period of time. And I really want to give whatever I can to develop the 3rd pillar. The first and second pillar, of course, will be a great faculty and a great student body. I think we have both now. And in particular with the student body, we now have both a good graduate student body as well as undergraduate student body. In 20 short years, we've accomplished that. But alumni of all the great universities of the world, the several hundred-year-old universities, alumni are there not just to donate money, or nor to become famous people whom the university can use as references. Alumni really spread out and become the ambassadors of the university. They themselves, the way they network with each other, the values that they uphold, they are themselves living examples of what the university can be in the wider community. And we are very young in that respect. And therefore, our alumni are far more disadvantaged compared to the other two universities, because all of you are just now, after 20 years, coming into your own. But even then, you're not in your 60s, and you're not like the alumni of NUS, far less the alumni of Harvard or Cambridge. But we're getting there. And I think the other universities, I know the other universities even are envious of us, because I've spoken to quite a lot of alumni overseas of both NUS, NTU, and SMU. And they are amazed at the vibrancy of our alumni because you all are young. And I think one of the things I just wanted to say to all of you is that, and this is really from the bottom of my heart in SMU, is that when you start with something new, you can create new traditions. You don't just pass on traditions. So all of you as alumni now, just the beginning of a young alumni group, you can create new traditions in what you do, and you're breaking new ground all the time, like what you're doing now with this book, with the whole notion that alumni should give back to the university. You are starting new trends that will remain truly hundreds of years from now.
So on that note of breaking ground and creating new stories, we're going to go into the launch of the book in a short while. But before we do that, we prepared a little bit of a behind the scenes, the making of video. So please enjoy.
One of the exciting initiatives by the alumni community is a project to put together the stories of around 100 alumni. And this project will be to raise funds through a coffee table book. It will be a historic memento for the future.
One of the key characteristics of SMU is the ability to rally together when we most need to. It has all enabled our graduates to go on and make meaningful impact.
I'm going to be shooting this book, and it's going to be quite daunting, but I think it'll be fun to be able to reconnect with all these 100 alumni and also capture how far they've come in their journey.
So what drew me to the campaign is how student-led the project is and how I can be involved in shaping the project. And personally, I feel very proud as well because we started from nothing, and I'm very confident that we can make this campaign a success.
So I really wanted to be part of a bigger community, to meet a community of like-minded people, and also I've been quite interested about writing as well. Being able to meet up with SMU alumni to find out about their ups and downs and being able to give back to SMU will be very exciting to me, especially when I'm graduating.
So what struck me the most was actually the passion for people, to see how they're willing to go out there and to find solutions to different problems and also to solve these problems themselves. I felt it was really satisfying to see how the SMU community is coming together to help one another and to better our community.
I think it was that, perspective of being a student, you can't really see what's ahead of you, and it's really that connection with the alumni to say, hey, I've been there, I've done this, and you can do it too.
I hope that our stories will be inspiring to them and encouraging to them. Yeah, because everybody has their own story. There's no one greater than the other. Yeah, so I just hope that it will be something that will encourage them in their lives, but also inspire them to consider giving back.
I think it's really looking at themselves and going, hey, if they went through the same hallways and went through the same classes and did something cool with their time in school and after school, I think hopefully it inspires some of them to also perhaps pursue something that they've always wanted to do. So hopefully it gives them a chance to take action into building their own dreams.
I'm just really excited to see all the different stories and how it kind of inspires the students and really achieving greater things than maybe even some of the alumni is featured in this book. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Ho. So we have a very important thing to do right now, and obviously this is a very unprecedented time. So we're going to do it very differently because we're SMU. So we're going to do a virtual book launch, and the way we're going to do it is we're going to count 3 all the way down to 1, and then we will mark this, the launch itself. So, Mr. Ho, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So together then, 3, 2, 1.
Voila!
Thank you very much, Mr. Ho. And now the Imagine Better book is officially launched. Please purchase a copy of the book, and you'll be supporting the causes that the Alumni Community Fund is supporting. So we're almost at the end of this segment. And before we say thank you to Mr. Ho and bid him farewell, Mr. Ho, I'd like to invite you to just share your final thoughts with all your viewers today.
Well, I guess I would say that for people of my generation, the word imagine was that famous iconic song by John Lennon. But this one is even imagine better. That would be my final.
Well, on that note, thank you very much again, Mr. Ho, for taking time to be with us, for launching the book. We wish you all the best, and we hope to see you again soon.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you. So as you all know, we have just launched the Imagine Better book. Please purchase a copy of it. The book contains 112 stories, featuring 103 alumni told through the lens of 38 student authors. So at this point in time, please find the link and make a donation to the SMU Alumni Community Fund. We are very close to hitting our mark of $500,000. So please support. Every little bit counts. All right, so please still stay tuned because we've got a nice lineup of program waiting just for you. So next up, we're going to introduce Tiziana, who is an SMU alumna and the founder of Brain Juice Collective, which focuses on impact marketing and youth empowerment. Now, Tiz has been one of the core activists in the Imagine Better Coffee Table Book project, and I'm really looking forward to hearing what she has to say next. So meanwhile, I would like to say thank you for tuning in and also for all your support. Here's wishing you all the very best. Stay healthy, stay well. Bye for now.
Thank you for that wonderful segment, Karen. And now, my name is Tiziana. I will be hosting the first segment of this program, which is really special to me because I get a behind-the-scenes look and I get to talk to the heroes behind this book, our student authors. So part of this project, we had 38 students who were part of interviewing the alumni as well as writing these stories. And here with me today, I have 3 of them, Brian, Baishak, as well as Tian Tian. And I can't wait to hear their insights as well as have them read some of the stories live for you here today. So without further ado, hang tight. We'll be bringing them on shortly.
Hi.
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 Thank you
Hi.
for joining us on this Saturday afternoon. I'm so excited to hear from each of and every one of you. I'm sure the audience is as well. So before we go into the discussion, why don't you guys introduce yourself? Let's start with Brian.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. I'm currently a freshman. I'm going to my second year when the semester starts in August, and I'm pursuing my degrees in accountancy and information systems. I love to play the violin and viola as well as my free time. So, why not Vaishak can share next about himself?
Yeah, Vaishak, go ahead.
Thanks, Brian. Hi, everyone. My name is Vaishak. I'll be studying my third year at SMU. I'm pursuing a degree in the social sciences. So some fun facts about myself. I love football. So to all the Liverpool fans out there, you'll never walk alone. But because of the situation now, I've really lost my one and only hobby, which is playing football. So I've kind of picked up a few interesting things to do. So one of them is cooking. Yeah,
Awesome.
so I've been cooking for my family, and I think they appreciate it, but really hard to tell because sometimes the food is just not really good.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Vaishak. Tian Tian, why don't you go ahead?
So hi everyone. So my name is Tian Tian. I've just recently graduated from SMU. In fact, just a couple of months ago, from School of Business. And in terms of, I mean, you guys are sharing what you like, right? So in terms of what I like, really, I think like you guys, I like to write, and also I love to sing. So if anyone wants to sing virtually, we could do a karaoke session anytime.
I think you recently just posted one, right, from Aladdin
Oh my gosh.
on
Yeah.
Facebook. So
Oh, sorry.
I actually have been stalking you guys and found out a few interesting facts. So Vaishak, I'm going to start with you. I hear that you have actually learned Python programming before.
Yeah, I picked up the basics, I think last year.
Have you built anything interesting?
Not really. I've been using it for my internship actually to like compile data and all that, but that's the most I can do.
Awesome. I think that's more than what we all can do already. So that's awesome. Ryan, I hear you have started your own organization. So share with us a little bit more about that.
Oh, so what happened is that 1.5 years ago, I started an internship at a couple of startups, and then I think it kind of built into this portfolio of work that I had. It ranged, from financial reporting, FP&A, to corporate communications. So I was getting into contact with more and more business owners. Non-profit organizations as well, and I was starting to get queries like, hey, would you like to do this for us? Would you like to help us with that? And I decided, if I have all these opportunities coming up, why not I incorporate something and make it a business? And I think that's what really happened a couple of months ago. I started my company Fenston Lewis, and we help startups scale. So we are mainly doing FP&A work for them now. But yeah, so that's what I've been up to as well, outside of school.
Awesome. So it's not just our alumni becoming entrepreneurs, but we also have our students who are starting their own organizations as well as initiatives. And I'm so excited that you guys have joined us here today. Finally, we have Tian Tian. So what I found out was that you've actually interviewed the second female astronaut in Japan. Is that true?
Wow.
Yes, that is true. She is actually one of my Facebook friends for some reason. And then I was going to Japan, I think back in 2016. So I asked her, could we have a cup of coffee? And then, she actually replied my message right after my birthday. So also it was a very nice message. She said, why not we have a cup of coffee at Shinjuku? And she bought me coffee. So that's how I got to interview her.
Wow, that's awesome. So a little bit of journalism started then. And I hear your parents are also journalists. So you come from a family of journalists as well. So let's go and start with the first question. What is your favorite memory from the interviews that you conducted as well as the writing process? Vaishak, why don't you get us started?
For me, my favorite memory would be the interview that I did with Daddy and Himi, because it was my second interview actually, and I was a bit nervous going into it. But once the interview was only supposed to last for I think about 30 to 40 minutes, but once we started, we just went on and we were talking for at least 2 hours. So it was a very amazing experience, and they were so friendly and gave me a lot of advice on how to survive uni and all that. Yeah, that was one of the memories that I took away from this project.
I think I've heard a lot of that from the students, that your conversations actually went on and you had a great time connecting with them, and it became more than just about getting your answers for your story. And I think that's what it's all about. At this point, I would like to address our Facebook audience. Please share this stream so that more people can tune in, and do leave comments and questions for our segment as well. If we see anything, we will definitely address it as much as we can. Student authors, if you're with us, again, thank you so much. We really appreciate you. Unfortunately, we can't have all of you online on the screen today, but again, thank you from all of us. So Tian Tian, how about you? What's your favorite part of the process?
Well, my favorite part of the process, I interviewed actually one of the alumni members called Kasin, who's a veteran in the tax and I think accounting industry. So Kasin, if you're there, here's a shout out. So I'm not sure if I'm right, but I remember having a conversation with Kasin, and then we went from talking about how we define ourselves, our different interests, to even K-pop. So I was quite surprised that she's a fan of BTS as well. So that was one of my favorite memories. You never know that an interview could roll off to a very casual conversation of how we could, have some common interests as well.
Awesome. I think it's great for the students to connect with alumni with like what you said. Sometimes we're surprised how much we have in common. And hopefully, everybody had an enjoyable experience as well. Brian, finally for you, what was your favorite part?
I think the fantastic thing about this initiative is that we not only get to connect with alumni, but alumni who have, mainly been in the field of entrepreneurship for me. So I was connected to Noemi and 3 others, alumni. The other 3 were actually DBA students, Doctor of Business Administration students, and a lot of these people are not are not like students, or, we're not entrenched in education for such a long time. They have been in the industry for, say 20 years. They have built companies, and all of these happen to be Chinese businessmen from China, and they had already started successful companies. And the most impressive thing was that it all started from nothing. So there's TQRS Group, which does agricultural and farming. There is Huamao Group, which does real estate, and there's of course Tencent. And all these companies started from nothing. So being able to interview the founders and to hear from them how they started an empire, with from absolutely ground zero, it's really a next world, it's an otherworldly experience for a student like myself.
Thanks for sharing, Brian. And just a little background for everyone. So Brian joined us a little bit later. So he didn't have the privilege of joining us for the workshops, for example. Vaishak and Tian Tian were with us from the start.
Yeah.
So really thankful to you, Brian, for jumping in when we needed some extra hands and becoming a student author as well. Thank you. So before we wrap up this particular question, Vaishak, since you mentioned Daddy and Himi, why don't you go ahead and read the story that you wrote about them?
Sure. All right. So Daddy Satyadi and Cheng Himi through the eyes of Vaishak Pillai. So technology has become an unavoidable presence that has called for the reimagining of how the younger generation understands and leverages it in their communities. Daddy Satyadi and Himi Cheng, the co-founders of Kodkun Academy, had this insight and now stand at the forefront of nurturing a generation of technology-equipped children. The duo met while doing their degree at SMU and connected over the perspective of learning programming in innovative ways. In particular, they bonded over their desire to help kids. To these buddies, enrichment classes had simply missed the point. Instead, they wanted to help their students find value by incorporating fun and relevance into various aspects of their life. For Himi, the traditional top-down method of learning was never constructive for him. He said, "We want the kids to understand that technology is a tool. It can be integrated with what you enjoy doing." And with this vision in mind and Daddy's motivation, Himi left the corporate sector to bootstrap Kodkun Academy. What started out as apprehension towards managing a class of kids have now become a highlight of his. Daddy builds on the Kodkun Academy model by blending creativity into the learning experience. He believes that coding can be a medium for creative expression and shared an instance of how students had created amazing new worlds through the Minecraft gaming software. Together, Daddy and Himi's dynamism is the secret of their success. From coding lessons for children with disabilities to making creative coding programs for younger audiences, their shared passion and chemistry make them great entrepreneurs. For them, their journey is only just beginning. The end.
Thank you, Vaisha. Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say I hope you all enjoyed the short write-up that I did.
We definitely enjoyed it. In fact, I think a lot of entrepreneurs in SMU have found their co-founders as friends.
Yeah.
In fact, in the next segment, you will hear from Adrian, who met his co-founder in SMU as well. So it's really nice to hear about friendships that were formed that also become great business partnerships. And I can't wait to read the rest of the stories. So moving on to the second question, what was the most challenging thing that you encountered in this process? Let's start with Tian Tian.
Well, the most challenging thing throughout the whole process, I think, really is the pre-interview process, because we wanted to find out something that gives us, the essence of how the alumni or the receiving end would be like, and we want to find out more about them and inside story. So, but before the interview, sometimes you really don't know where to grasp or where to craft your questions so that you could get, the insightful answers that you really want. And the research that we could do was basically what you can find online, what other media coverage have covered about them, possibly about their career. And so it was a little bit difficult trying, how to craft the questions to give you a personal touch and a personal feel. So what we did was, I think, for myself, what I did was I created some questions that were more vague, which were like, how do you define yourself, or how do you position yourself, for instance, and to see what we can get at the end of the day.
Thank you. Brian, what about you? What was challenging for you?
I think being able to come up with substance about these, alumni who have already have things written about them outside. They've done interviews, they have a lot of feature articles around on the internet, on newsletters. So I wanted to come up with something which was different, something which was special and unique, something which would truly add value. And I think in light of the entire, in light of the whole Imagine Better idea, right, that we were trying to push through, and also in tandem with the fact that this was going to be a project which would contribute to the Alumni Community Fund, I think I wanted to come up with some insights that would be especially unique and relevant. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So in the interest of time, I'm going to get you guys to read your story. Sorry, Vaisha.
Okay.
Brian, can you go ahead and read the story that you wrote?
Sure, I'll be happy to do so. So I'll read the story that I wrote about Charles, Dr. Chen Yidan. He is the co-founder of Tencent as well as the founder of the Yidan Prize. So here the story goes. Attributing his career successes to the reform and opening up policies, the internet era as well as like-minded partners, Chen Yidan, or Charles, the co-founder of Tencent, one of the Chinese internet giants, is now on a mission to empower the world. Charles founded the Yidan Prize in 2016 as a global platform recognizing stellar research and development in education. And now with an endowment of over 320 million US dollars, the award is the largest of its kind worldwide. But getting to this point was not easy. Fondly reminiscing Tencent's early days, Charles shared about their struggle for survival during the 1998 financial crisis, which was actually when I was born. The core team of 5 founding members rallied as one united force, focusing on offering a customer-centric experience. This strategy worked really well, as we all know now, allowing Tencent to not only overcome their struggles, but also experience exponential growth. But now its challenge today has gone beyond serving customers' needs to serving the societal needs of the community, which is why Dr. Chen has decided to found the Yidan Prize to contribute to education philanthropy. That's the first 2 paragraphs of the story. Please remember to donate more than $50 to get a copy of this book, right?
Thank you so much, Brian, for the shout out as well. Like what Brian said, please purchase and pre-order your copy so that you can read more of the stories that we have written. Finally, we have Tian Tian, who will be reading Anna Hautanto's story.
Anna Vanessa Hautanto, Through the Eyes of Chua Tian Tian. We often underestimate what financial empowerment can do for women. And for Anna Vanessa Hautanto, the passion to create value for the underserved female segment convinced her to leave a high-paying banking job to start the New Savvy, a platform designed to empower women through financial literacy. Going into entrepreneurship was not an easy decision though.
and I had first-hand experience with the downsides of running a business. The 1997 Asian financial crisis had plunged the family's textile business into financial difficulties. Coupled with the initial self-doubt, starting a business was actually the last thing she wanted. The calling to empower women, however, overcame any uncertainty, and Anna established the New Savvy in 2015. Building from the company from scratch tested her resilience. Unfazed, Anna picked up digital marketing, financial technology, and even coding to ensure that she understood the different facets of the business. She also wrote the content herself and created useful tools like financial and mortgage calculators. Under her leadership, the company continues to motivate the female community to support each other in achieving financial happiness. So these are the two paragraphs excerpt in the interest of time.
Thank you, Tian Tian. Thank you, Brian and Vaishak, for reading your stories as well. Before we leave our audience, let's end with one last question, which I'm going to ask Tian Tian. So how has your perspective on work and life changed through this process? Tian Tian?
Well,
Okay, so we're having a little bit of connection issues with Tian Tian. So Vaishak, why don't you answer that question?
Well, for me, what I learned from this was that you never know where you're going to end up. So like when I was talking to Daddy and Himi, they told me that they had no idea they will be running this enrichment class business once they graduated. Like Daddy was planning to go into finance and Himi was into information systems. So it was a huge turnaround for them to change what they were doing and to end up where they are right now. But neither of them regret what has happened and they're both happy with where they are. So what they told me is that don't worry too much about the future. Just enjoy your time in university and like pick up as many skills as possible, learn as much as you can. And sooner or later you will feel what like you should be doing with your life and you will know inherently what you should be doing.
Thank you. I'm really appreciative of all of you for sharing your insights as well as the behind the scenes process of what you guys have gone through in making this book happen. So before we say bye, the next segment will be with Adrian, where you'll get to meet our local alumni, some of whom you might have heard of before. They'll be playing a fun game as well as going into a panel discussion. So I hope you guys have a great time and do stay tuned. So before we move on, we're going to be signing off right now. Bye, guys.
Bye.
The unicorns.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Adrian, or more commonly known as Xiao Ming, and I'm going to be a host for this very exciting segment called Purposeful Pursuits, where we'll be showcasing SMU alumni who have overcome challenges to create impact in their own respective fields. So for those of you who don't know, I was actually part of the graduating class of 2013 from SMU School of Business, and it was actually in SMU that I started SGAG with my best friend. Haha! To be honest, I wasn't the best student, but I'll leave the juicy details for later. Anyway, before I start, I'd just like to remind everyone who's watching this live to comment away and ask us any burning or funny questions that you guys might have. Okay, so without further ado, let me introduce my guests for the day. First up we have Ivan Cheng, who is a serial entrepreneur as well as a board member at the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Next, we have Vanessa, whom I had the honor of meeting at a Forbes 30 Under 30 event in Boston in 2017 because of her amazing work as the founder of Freedom Cups. And last but not least, we have the famous TV host and actress, founder of Della, and the ever youthful-looking Jade Sia. So, let's bring out everyone, shall we? Hi, what's up?
Hi.
Guys? How's everyone
Hi guys.
doing?
Good, thank you.
Good, really good.
What have you guys been up to this, especially during this circuit breaker period, man?
Well, Ivan looks busy with unicorns.
And baking, okay? Baking.
Baking unicorn?
Yeah, baking unicorns.
What have you been up to, Ivan?
I've been busy baking.
Really?
Apart from my work. Yeah, really. There's a new video channel called bakingwithivan.com. It's instructional video every Sunday, 2 hours of baking time with me.
Everybody's baking right now, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, how about Vanessa? How have you been since the last time we met, man?
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing the same thing as everyone else, probably reading, exercising, staying at home, being a good circuit breaker person. Nothing too different from everyone else.
Nice. And how about Jade? Wow, your house looks nice. Are you in a cafe?
Me?
Yeah, how are you?
Sorry, I think I got disconnected for a bit. I'm good. No, my house. This is my house. It's totally open concept. That's why it looks like a cafe. But it's not so good when you have two people in the house and you have to both make conference calls. I'll say that.
Has to take turns or hide in different rooms, right?
Yeah, we have to say we chop this area because the area is just one area. No, I've been good. I mean, we've had a series of actually workshops planned and retreats, but we've had to bring them all online. So it's kind of nice because we've been engaging the community online instead of in person. And then so we're going to continue that. And we're going to do full-on workshops once circuit breaker ends and we can again.
Nice. Everybody has exciting plans for when circuit breaker ends, right? Yeah. Anyway, that's super awesome, But why not let's move on to the highlight of this segment called, Never Have I Ever. I'm super excited.
I'm kind of worried because there was
very,
no
very
warning given. And then Adrian is laughing and let's just say that I've seen stuff on SGAG, it's worrying.
Exactly.
Wow. Don't worry, this is on
And
the
Adrian, you better be joining us as well, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, no, I'm sure you guys have played this game before, but just for the sake of our viewers, I'll just explain this game a little. So I'll basically ask a question like, say, for example, never have I ever, skipped class in school, right? And Ivan, Vanessa, and Jay will hold up their play card, where it's either I have never or I have, right? So it's that simple, okay? So are you guys ready for my juicy questions?
But yeah, we're ready.
SMU might not invite us back after this, but oh well. Okay, first question. Never have I ever stayed overnight in the SMU library. Okay, we have 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Ding, ding, ding. Oh my god. I'm the only one who has never. That explains who's the worst student of them all. But maybe you guys can share me. I mean, it's quite a legend. That staying overnight in SMU. A lot of us have all had similar experience. Ivan, maybe you want to share first.
I remember 1 year during the finals, right? Me and my friends, we stay overnight. And then at 3 a.m., we sneaked down from the library lift next to Kofu. And we did this post-it wall. So the whole Kofu, we posted the whole Kofu. Okay,
I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's by you guys.
Yeah.
Weren't you guys supposed to be studying?
Yeah. But at 3 a.m., I thought it's good to do a senior class prank. So we sneaked down with 3 of us. And then we went and posted the whole Kofu. Class of 2014, graduate. Yeah.
Man.
Oh my gosh, I got so much scolding. So much scolding.
If you have to put post-it, at least put the notes lah, the study notes, then at least people can refer, you know what I'm saying?
So much scolding. To all those juniors watching this, do not do that, okay? Do not.
How about Vanessa? How about you?
It really wasn't an interesting story. It was just the fact that I was probably a bit like you, Xiaoming, in the sense that I seldom ever did work or my homework, and I kept it the last minute, and so there was stuff due the next day, and so it was just an all-nighter in the library. Nothing as interesting as Ivan's post-it.
Jade's story must be interesting.
Not as interesting as Ivan's. I mean, a lot of it was similarly just not studying in time, so it's just mugging. But we would leave school at like 12 or something, go to Zouk, party for 2-3 hours, and come back. I remember doing that because I would need an outlet, and then yeah. But my parents were kind of worried because the next day they were like, they thought I was on substance or something. I was like, no, I really am just studying and just living life to the fullest, trying to just work hard, play hard, really taking it to the next level. Yeah.
Oh man, wow, are you sure that's not as exciting as Ivan's story? That sounds pretty exciting. Maybe to her it's very mild, this one.
I know.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, I wasn't really, maybe, I was a good student. That's why, I make use of the time in school to study.
You were probably at Zouk the whole night. That's why you didn't bother to go back to the library.
Man, I remember there were a lot of photos going around where people set up actual 10 pages in the library. Wow, it's super extreme.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, now let's move on maybe to the second question that I have, right?
What's the first one, man?
Okay, second question. Never have I ever been the highest bidder for boss. Okay. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Ding, ding, ding.
I pride myself on not being the highest.
Me too.
Yeah,
it's like very loser.
so
Sorry.
embarrassing.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's so. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Sorry, Adrian. It's just slightly
What?
loser than to be the highest bidder. Plus, it's damn small market.
I guess I have to share my story then. No, okay. I have to share the reason why. It's because I was very prudent from year 1 to year 3. Then by year 4, I realized I have tons of I have $150 to bid for 4 mods. So I'm just okay lah. You know what? I just max out everything.
Oh my gosh, so irritating. You're the kind of person that I'll go and scold, because you're killing the system.
Hey, it was
it's
a badge.
Not Adrian.
It was like a badge of honor. I was like, oh yes, I'm the highest bidder.
I would have punched you. I really would have punched you.
Nice. But I mean, do you guys have any interesting stories or tactics that you guys have when it comes to bidding?
There are tactics. There are tactics for sure. Like you find out which professor is the most lenient marker. I don't know if you still. I'm determined to get my A's, so it's like
it's being tactical, right?
Yeah, and then you find out which prof is the most lenient marker, what the breakdown of their class is, and then you really try to get those classes. Like I don't mind doing 8:30 classes. It really for me depends on the prof.
By the way,
how about Ivan? Do you have interesting stories?
I have not.
I know you are a very good student, Ivan.
No, I think among all of us, you are the Suma here lah.
I don't dare to take out my cert. Don't force me to take it out. I don't know why.
I really have no example, but I think very similar to Jade, right? We all find a prof. For me, I find the prof that has the highest percentage of class part. That usually will
highest percentage of A's. Yeah.
A's got bell curve, class part is the benchmark.
Okay, we keep the class part one for subsequent questions.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Wow, that was class part.
I've got a question on that. Okay, let's move on to the third question then. Okay. Never have I ever walked into a wrong class. Okay, 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. What? Vanessa, you have never walked into the wrong class. How
No,
can you
but
be?
that's because I wasn't in very many classes.
I think they must be regretting inviting all of us. We are all
I think
giving very
so.
negative examples.
Very bad examples. Vanessa, you sure got something else to say, right? I'm sure you're in school a lot.
No, I find it very funny. Yeah. No, I think Xiaoming, I think you have a very good story about this one, about your like the time you walked into a wrong class. So I think you should.
Well, I mean, you know, like during the first day of every semester, you know, maybe it's like this post-holiday blues where you just don't want to accept that we're back in school again. So I'm usually like a bit lost. So I'll be like, oh, you know, I'm supposed to go to this new class in this seminar room. And I think what happens is sometimes I will like mistaken, like, you know, walk into the wrong class. And for 5 minutes, I'm like, okay, this is something new. And I'm like, oh, wait, I don't think this sounds very right. Like psychology stuff, like, I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to take this. And I check Oasis. I was like, oh, right. It is the wrong class I'm in. So I'll be like, sneakily from the back, like just, you know, disappear from the seminar room. And awkwardly walk into the next class like 10-15 minutes late. Man, not the best first impression for either of the professors. Yeah, how about you guys? And any interesting stories about walking into the wrong class? Jade, how about you?
No, similarly, actually, I like 8:30 classes because in my head, get it over and done with in the morning. But then the buses are so crowded at that time. So this is like, I have a few years in the old campus. Yes, I'm the oldie. So I had to run up the hill and I go in like panting and I dump everything on the table and it's not discreet at all. And it's already 5 minutes late and I sit down, open the books and like try to act busy. And then I realize I have no idea what this guy is talking about. And the same, I'll go to Oasis. I'm like, am I in the right classroom? It's happened more than once as well.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay, you know the last question is about class part. Okay,
oh, no.
you guys ready? Okay, the last question is: never have I ever raised up my hand just for the sake of class participation. Be honest, huh? 3, 2, 1.
Have to lah, have to. It's at least 20%.
The common SMU bond among all 4 of us. Class part.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you, I struggled so badly. Like, you know, for me, I purposely choose like modules that has like the least percentage of class part. It's like, oh, the 7% is like, okay, I'm signing up for that. Because I'm really someone who not like extroverted. I don't like to raise my hand and say things. I like to hide behind the class, to do memes and stuff like that. Yeah, so really not the best student. Yeah, Ivan, you were sharing about your class participation experience just now. Maybe you like elaborate a bit more.
Sure, I will be the antithesis of you. I'm the front of the row, first person in, laptop ready, 20 minutes more class. Let's get going.
Man, you're the guy who makes me feel super pressured. I'm like, okay, you know, I've got 1.5 hours lecture for this. And I was like, left 5 minutes already. I still haven't raised up my hand. Come on, say something. Think of something. And I was like, okay. Let me just ask some generic questions.
You know, I think my batch made me this T-shirt. You know, like they printed a special T-shirt for me, and it's called Class Part 4.
Oh my god!
Wow!
I have it somewhere. I'll find it one day. It's in one of my cupboards. But yeah, class. You know, I wear it with a pledge of honor. Okay, it's a proud moment.
Wow. How about Vanessa?
Well, I was very, very nervous about speaking up in class, and I think that was one of the best things about SMU, actually, the fact that it kind of got me out of my shell and you are forced to speak up. But I remember in many of my classes before presentations, and especially for the ones at CAT, where I had absolutely no idea what was going on most of the time, I remember having a little bottle of whiskey and water.
Wow.
Wow.
And it was like liquid courage. It wasn't the fact that I was trying to get, you know, like.
Wow.
But I think it was a very, very scary thing for me. And I think that was something that like I really treasured moving out of SMU, you know, the fact that it moved me out of that comfort zone. But even then, like whiskey helped quite a fair bit with it.
So do you bring whiskey everywhere you go now for work?
No. I think the last time I drank whiskey before a presentation was at that Forbes 30 Under 30 conference where it was a big deal. And then that was the last time I had whiskey before presenting.
Nice.
It's just amazing.
Yeah, man.
Jane and
Should have-
Vanessa, you ladies are just trouncing me and Xiaoming here, okay? In
Yeah,
terms
man. I
of,
feel like such a noob over here.
I know I did not do enough in SMU now.
I mean, there are like a lot of tricks lah. Okay, I'm not a shy person, so I don't have problems like speaking up, but I don't exactly read up before class. And if it's early, the class is early, I might be late. So after you already ping me pong when people like the professor has realized that this person is late, you better say something intelligent. So I will speed read whatever he's done and then like faster ask the question before someone else can ask.
Wow.
At least you ask one question per class, you should get your full class part, I
I
think.
should have met you guys when I was in school. Maybe I would have done a lot better. But okay, thank you so much, guys, for being so spontaneous. I mean, that's the end of the games.
Oh,
right, let's move into our panel discussions, shall we? I mean, let me look through the comment section and see if there are any like interesting questions. Yeah, you just give me a minute. Let me just look through.
Serious stuff, not about how to get A's.
Yeah.
how to sneak into
like,
book.
yeah.
I think if not, they're going to end this live prematurely.
Yeah,
I know. Or how
the
do you
cheat sheet
bring
to do
whiskey in a flask into SMU?
Yeah. Oh my god.
Green tea bottle. Okay,
How
okay,
is
I've
it?
got one.
Okay.
Interesting one, okay?
Sure.
So one of the people asked, right, what are some of the highlights of your time starting up your business, right? Maybe Vanessa, you can share first. Is there anything that is you consider highlights?
Yeah, so by way of a quick introduction, what we do at Freedom Cups is that we get reusable menstrual products to women. And I think, we've had many different highlights. I think, being on the Forbes list, being probably one of the few Singaporeans to sit down with 8 different heads of state to talk about sustainable periods, for example. The scholarships that we've been offered at, universities I could only dream of, like Columbia University or the Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy. I think there have been many, many highlights. But I think to me, the biggest highlight of starting Freedom Cups was igniting a conversation about women's bodies and reproductive health and periods in a place like Southeast Asia. I think it is something where, we're so advanced in so many different ways. We put men on the moon. We've got computers in our pockets. We've decoded the human genome. But I mean, the fact that women are still bleeding out onto leaves and sand and bark and stuff, I think it's, a huge thing. And I think these are all the small little wins that I take. So I think those are some of the big highlights for us.
Those are amazing stories. I remember when I heard it in Boston for the first time when I met you there, I was just like, wow, from Singapore, like someone's actually thinking of a solution like that to help, the world and stuff. So I thought that was like super amazing, right? Yeah. But how about Ivan, right? What are some of your highlights, in your entrepreneurship journey?
Well, for those of you who know, I've taken a backseat in being a founder. Right now, I'm looking after a group of different
Graduated
companies.
from a founder already.
Graduated to an employee now, the pros and cons. But I think, in 10 years as being a staff founder, very much like Vanessa, right? The highlights has always been when you're doing so much good in the community. I remember, we're very lucky and blessed to be able to set out a foundation with some of our profits that we make, right? And this foundation has done work with so many of the things that I truly passionately care for and I'm still involved with. We built orphanages in Sri Lanka. We built women empowerment villages in India. In Indonesia, we are the first all-female coding school. And all of this are done because of the work that the Wonder Group is able to do from a commercial interest. And honestly speaking, my founders and my colleagues and my investors potentially will hate me for saying this, but I find so much more joy doing the philanthropic side than the actual day-to-day grind at the start. So I think this is why I like this new transition into doing more philanthropic work. It is such an amazing impact to realize you can see so many faces and so many lives change. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man. And how about Jade?
I think for me, I find there are a lot of small highlights, and it's just that my career has been so varied. I don't even know where to start. I mean, but for me, the highlight was actually after I started my own company, and for years, like almost a decade of working on radio and TV and being given scripts and being told what to say. It's so liberating to be able to create content that I really want to create. To talk about things like how to live a better life, how to live a happier life. Because it's content that I feel a lot of meaning for. I'm grateful to my time on TV and radio, learning the skills of communication. Actually in SMU as well, because you put out your hand even when you don't really have try to sound intelligent, even when you don't really have anything very intelligent to ask. But some of the highlights, and it's working with young people to hear, what some of the struggles are, to create new content, to learn new technology. It's been quite a journey, and even in this circuit breaker time, doing something new, which is like we were quite bummed that we had events planned for like April. And so we've taken it online, but some of the feedback that we've gotten, like people have said, it's really helped them. They really want to continue. Someone said this is better than therapy, which I think is the biggest compliment to my team and I. So I think for me, that's really, I'm really, really excited about the future and looking forward to growing this whole thing.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Yeah, I mean, just on the very casual side of things, at least for me, I think when SGAT was started, it was just really something that me and my buddy, we did for fun. It was never meant to be a business or a company. We never imagined it to be just more than, the two of us creating content for fun. Right. So I think one of the key highlights in the very, very early days was when a client came knocking and they asked us this question. They said, like, can I pay you to make fun of me? And I'm just like, what? Like, seriously? You want to pay me to make fun of you? They're like, yeah. Because, you guys brought me so much engagement. I see really a lot of value in using humor and advertising and stuff like that. So that really opened our eyes and our mind to a whole new different world that we never, initially imagined. So that was, kind of fun and interesting in the SGAT journey itself. Yeah. So I'm really, really happy that, you guys have found so many, like, I would say, interesting learning lessons, I think, along the way. And I think the other question that I have, is has there been any point in time where you considered doing something else, and why didn't you give up on your current career path to pursue that instead? Maybe Ivan, you want to go first?
Sure. Look at me, right? So when
unicorns.
Exactly right. Okay. First thing first, there's a reason why they are unicorns. All of us are startup founders, and the goal is to create a $1 billion company, right? So cannot make a $1 billion company, unfortunately, not in my lifetime. So you can buy a giant unicorn to fulfill the need for a $1 billion company. This is my coping mechanism, if you will. But jokes aside, I can't remember your question, tell me.
I mean, have you considered doing something else, and why didn't you give up to pursue that?
I think being a startup founder is a 24/7 endeavor. I can say this now with ease because I know I'm not running something actively full time. But kudos to all the founders, right? And it's very tough because it's your baby, right? I'm sure Vanessa, Xiaoming herself and Jay, you agree, right? These are all your little precious baby. Every single moment when you sleep at night, you think about it. When you're on a plane, you think about it. Every single obsession, and you have very little chance to pursue what I call your artistic side, your passion. So it is a great journey. At the same time, it's about balancing it all, and you cannot juggle too many balls. So sometimes you give up certain things for the startup. But you know what? Coming from a founder, it's all worth it. I would never trade my last 10 years for anything else. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the point you talked about, having a strong support structure.
Yes.
It's important to keep yourself going. So, how are you guys staying connected despite this COVID-19 situation? Vanessa, anything that you're doing particularly on your end?
Stay connected to just friends and family, is it?
Yeah, staying connected during this COVID-19 kind of situation.
Yeah, well, I think for me, I'm very lucky because I come from a big family. So, I mean, my co-founders of Freedom Cups are my sisters, and we have an extremely good relationship. So I think this circuit breaker, I understand the privilege that I'm saying, the lens of that I'm coming at this from, and I know it's very privileged saying this, but I think the circuit breaker has been great. It's been so much fun. I understand this is not the situation for everyone.
Yep.
But, I think keeping in touch has been so important for so many people, and I feel really, really sad, I think, for the elderly among us or the people who do not have as easy access to it. I think it's much harder for them to stay in touch with people. They can't move out, and there's so many cases now of the elderly kind of getting them breaking circuit breaker measures, and I think there's so many pieces to this puzzle, and so I think keeping in touch has been incredibly important. I think what SMU has done with this, virtual book, which has been interesting. And I just think we need to find better ways to do it for like the unprivileged students as well as the elderly and, segments of society who don't really have access to tech as easily. But yeah, like what Jade was saying, I think Jade covered it in her talk about mental illness. Previously, I think, it's a big issue and it's coming to light now, especially with everybody in isolation.
Yep. Yeah, so I'm glad, like, I think famous personalities or even medias are really shining a bit more light on this, I would say, side of the society that might not be that talked about on normal circumstances. Right. So maybe on a light-hearted side, Jade, any favorite coffee place from your SMU days? Do you remember any in particular?
It's so funny because I guess maybe because I'm a very energetic person and I say I do 8:30 classes, I actually don't drink coffee.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't.
Risky, right?
Yeah. But we used to frequent around SMU. We used to frequent Timber a lot because we just crossed the road and we go for happy hours. We also used to frequent Morton's for happy hour because we were cheap and it was less than $10 a drink. Then I hear it's more expensive now.
And you have free steak sandwiches as well.
Yeah. So we would just plunk ourselves there and order in advance, and then we'll sit there until after happy hour because we're cheap like that. We're like,
It's okay. We were all poor student once.
Yeah.
So I mean, the last question that I have is, if you guys could give advice to your 25-year-old self again, what would that be? Maybe Ivan, you want to share first?
No, I don't. I want to hear the ladies first. Ladies first.
Okay, sure. Ladies first. Vanessa, anything on your mind?
Yeah, I think if I have one piece of advice for my 25-year-old self, it would be to be less afraid. To be less afraid of people, of rejection, of places, of failure, of loss. I think just to be less afraid. And I think no panel is complete without a quote from Steve Jobs. And I think he summarized it perfectly when he said, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow know where you want to be. And I think that would be somewhat along the lines of what kind of advice I would give my younger self.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's really true because I think at that stage in our lives, we are always trying to maybe be somebody that we're not in the name of self-improvement or becoming a better leader or picking up new skill sets and stuff like that. But I think eventually what I kind of realized is that you just have to be the best version of yourself. And I think for everything that you're not, that's where your support structure comes in, right? You really look for people who can complement you really well instead of trying to fight and struggle all the time. Yeah. Anybody, anything else? I mean, Ivan, how about you?
I think the same, right? Be the best version of yourself. I always believe, I have a little mark here to always remind myself, right? It's a little semicolon, right?
Okay.
That when you're young, right, it's like the whole life is ahead of you and you just want to do 1,001 things at once because it's like there's opportunities coming, especially as a startup founder, right? But I'm not saying take it slow. I'm saying that, be yourself and everything will fit into place eventually, like the whole world is still there available. You not sleeping one day, the world is not going to turn without you one day as well. So that would be the advice I give myself. Like there is just so much opportunities out there, and even today, right? I think we have all matured from the 25-year-old self of ourselves, but we are still so optimistic about the future. I am. It's going to be.
Some of us haven't matured so much.
still going to look at Zoom, Jade. We'll see. I'll see you there.
How about Jade?
Yeah, we'll see you there at phase 3 opening.
Okay, phase 3, I see it. Actually, it's a good question because I think at 25 it's so funny. I worried so much about what was I gonna do with my life because I wasn't sure what I just knew I wanted to study really hard and get really good grades, but I wasn't sure why. So when I got the grades that I wanted, I was like, okay, great. But then after that, I wasn't sure what the point was. So my advice would be, don't plan. Because it's really hard, and I think I know. It's again I'm going to say maybe I will not be invited back, right? But I think don't plan because the world and the industries, everything is changing so fast. New jobs are popping up that we never knew could be jobs. I mean, look at you, Adrian. Like your job never existed like a decade ago. Honestly, if you think about it, right? So I think the whole point is just to always be agile and be flexible and to be an opportunist. And really, at 25, like you have your whole life ahead of you. I mean, I am just a bit over 25 now, but I also still feel I have my whole life ahead of me, right? So I would say don't plan and don't worry so much. Like really just grab the opportunities that come your
Carpe
way.
diem.
Yeah, it's true. Because I think once you start thinking too much, it's just like, oh my god, everything is so scary and overwhelming. Right? But I think as we grow up, we realize that really things changes so fast. I think the only thing that you can do is just be as adaptable and as be flexible, and be as just fast moving as we can, to cope with the whatever problems that's being thrown at you. Cool.
Yeah.
So with that, I think we have come to the end of this really, really interesting panel discussion that was very different from our Never Have I Ever, even though I think it went, off a bit, but I think that's all good. I think thank you to Ivan, Vanessa, and Jade for being extremely honest, sporting, and candid with all your answers. Really appreciate that. Talking about all these experiences really, really make me do miss SMU and the schooling days sometimes.
I miss it so much. I miss it so much.
But thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much.
Next up, we actually have Mr. Gaushan Harjani, founder of Communicating World, which is among the Fortune 500 companies in Asia that contributes to UNICEF. So he recently published his first book called Talk It Easy and is the president of SMU Indonesia Alumni Chapter. So over to you, Gaushan. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Gulshan Harjani and I'd like to welcome all of you to today's segment, Beyond Our Shores. Many of the alumni featured in this book have truly inspiring stories. We have invited 3 international alumni, well, including myself, 4, to share with us some of their experiences. These are alumni who are truly passionate about what they do and continue to amaze us with their giving back spirit. But before we start, I must say, putting this book together was a great initiative. So on behalf of all the international alumni, I would like to thank the Office of Advancement for giving us a chance to share our. I would also like to thank the team of alumni and students who interviewed us, put our stories together, designed, printed the book, and of course the team working very hard behind the scenes to put today's event together. Thank you so much. And finally, to the Office of Advancement, thank you for giving me a chance to host this segment with the international alumni. Now, I also want to remind all of you joining in that all the proceeds from this book will be channeled to support needy students during this economically challenging times. I'm also proud to share that SMU has declared that no deserving student will be denied a place because of their financial difficulty. So all of our contributions towards this book are really being put into great use. Now, I've been asked to share a little about myself and how I've been giving back. So just for your information, I come from the second batch of graduates at SMU. In fact, I graduated from the Bukit Timah campus back in 2005. Now, all you accounting graduates out there, please don't do the maths and work out the age, okay? Now, I'm Singaporean, childhood in Jakarta. So after I graduated, I moved back to Jakarta to pursue my dream of being a communication skills and public speaking. I founded a company called Communicating World, and today I have the good fortune of working with some of the world's most successful organizations. I've also had the opportunity to add value to CEOs, leaders, managers, data scientists, teachers, doctors. Hey, in fact, I have a photograph of me training for pediatricians across Indonesia, and this is a session I did recently. You want to put the photo up? Okay. All right. So I remember this was an event where we had over 30 pediatricians from across Indonesia, and the topic was to help them communicate their message better on good nutrition to parents as well as junior doctors. That's me up there. Can you see it? Ah, there you go. Great. Thanks for putting that up. Okay. Now, I've also finished writing my first book called Talk It Easy, which I will launch later this year. So here's the book. Okay, great, thanks. Now, during my time at SMU, there was a requirement for us to do nonprofit organization. I believe that requirement still exists today. I did mine with UNICEF, and today, 15 years later, I still contribute towards their cause. In fact, I have also started conducting pro bono workshops for non-profit organizations. Of me, after we completed a workshop with the UNICEF fundraising team. So what I did was I actually helped them to communicate their message better so that they could earn or get more funds to help the children in Indonesia. Do we have the photograph up? Okay, so that's photo number 2. Not this one, the other one. No, the one before this? Yeah, this one. Okay, so that's the picture. Great. Now, in addition to this, our organization also contributes to a free school in Jakarta that was set up to keep low-income families' children off the streets. So every year we spend a day with them. We inspire them to dream and believe so that they can create and imagine themselves. It's really heartwarming to spend time with these children and to see how positively they respond to our initiatives. Of the students, the little children, during one of the events, and I remember, I think the theme for this event was being grateful and thankful for what they had. So let's bring up the third photo of the little beautiful children at this school in Jakarta. There you go. Okay, so that's it. That's the one. Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, so now let's go to the what I went back to Jakarta in 2005. I was the first SMU alumni to move back to Indonesia. A few years later, we had more alumni join us, and then we created this little group that we now call the SMU Alumni Association Indonesia Chapter. We started with a handful of. Today, we have a group of about 135 alumni all over Indonesia. Being so in Indonesia, they're very, very closely knit through our WhatsApp group, and they're always happy to help each other. Plus, they're a lot of fun to hang out with. Hey, there's another photo of us actually having brunch together. So can you put that photo up? Okay. So that's us. I'm on the other side now. Okay. So that's us having lunch or brunch with some of the SMU staff, and you can see Dr. Berwin is there, a few other staff from the Office of Alumni and Advancements. Great. Okay, so I think enough about me, right? I'm sure you are all eager to meet 3 inspiring alumni who some of you may have had a chance to study with when you were in SMU. Or if you're a professor, then you had a chance to grade some of their assignments. Now, during this segment, if you have any questions you'd like me to ask, no matter how embarrassing they are, in fact, I think the more embarrassing, the better, please type it out on the Facebook comment section and I'll try my best to ask them just for you. So, without further ado, let's start with our first segment.
Hi.
Okay, so welcome. First guest joins us from a different continent, far, far away from Asia. She has been a huge inspiration, has an excellent track record of giving back, and fun fact, was a batchmate of mine at SMU. It's 9 a.m. where she currently is, so let's welcome and put our hands together for Shireen Aziz Williams as she joins us with her morning cup of coffee. Good morning, Shireen.
Good morning, and I've got my coffee here.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. A little bit sleepy, but I'm all right.
How's the weather at Wales at the moment?
Shockingly, we've been having a lot of sunshine. Like ridiculous amounts of sunshine over the past 2-3 weeks since we've actually been on lockdown, which must be some weird, God must have made it some weird clink to make us, and stay home while it's hot outside. To the point where we've just purchased about 3 fans for the house. People here don't buy fans, but yeah, we've had to get 3 just because it's so hot.
But they still sell fans.
They do, yes, they do. For that 3 days a year where it's quite hot, people will buy fans.
Very nice. Hey, Shireen, I actually prepared a couple of questions, and I thought we do like a Q&A thing.
Okay.
And I want to go back, 15 years ago where you joined, or maybe 20 years ago where you joined SMU while it was in its second year. Share your experience with us.
I was actually in the first batch of accounting students. So when I started, you were the second intake of business students. We were the first batch of accounting students. So we were pretty much guinea pigs for the whole system, really. It was really interesting. I liked the fact that it was a different way to join, to be part of a different community. I liked the fact that there was only 100 of us. You got to know your professors really well. You got to know the people around you really well. It had a very community feel. The only thing I hated, I was listening to Jade speak, is going up that hill at Bukit Timah. Oh my God. That was painful.
Yeah, I think it gave Bukit Timah a whole new meaning for us.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so when you were in university, were you the type to spend more time at the library studying, or were you at Food Haven snapping?
Food Haven was all right, but I think I spent more time in the library because this is Bukit Timah campus. I didn't get a chance to study in the city center campus. So in the Bukit Timah campus, I don't know if you remember, Gulshan, but back then we had to use things to download movies. I can't remember what we used back then, and everyone was on campus downloading movies and songs. and I spent time in the library watching movies. And if you
Oh
guys
my
remember,
God, eating up all the bandwidth.
hey, I was not the only one. And I spent a lot of time outside the library. If you remember, there was the Trung Nguyen, it was the Vietnamese cafe.
Yeah.
There was
Oh, they have great coffee.
yeah, so I spent quite a lot of time there. Yeah, that was my SMU time. Yes.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice. What about that you learned from SMU? What's the one thing that you learned that you use even till today?
I think for me, what that was an experience of stepping into the unknown. Right, SMU was unknown back then.
Okay.
I mean,
And why was that?
we only had one batch of, just first year students of business management students, and then the accountancy. So I think it pushed me to be much more comfortable into taking steps into the unknown. And that's served me quite well, I think, not just in my work life, but also my personal life, to take a risk.
Okay.
And then see how it works out, and then deal with that afterwards. Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tell me, how did you end up in Wales, of all the places in the world?
There's a bit of a romantic story to this, but actually I had applied to go on a program, the SIAC boat program, and I didn't. I got put on the reserve list. I was quite disappointed because I'd done a similar program with the Singapore International Foundation. I thought, I had a pretty good chance. My mum realized that I was quite disappointed and said, why not go on exchange instead? So I didn't go on exchange to Wales.
Okay.
I went on exchange to Denmark, and I have to say the international office were amazing. I think it was like 5 days to the deadline of submitting your application, and back then the international office staff basically just said, look, let's help, let's work with you, let's get this done, so you meet the deadline, which is what happened. After I finished my 6 months in Copenhagen, I traveled. I was going to travel with my mum and some family friends from Brunei. I came to Wales to stay with my cousin for a couple of weeks. I met somebody, and then 11 months later, on this day, we were married.
Congratulations. So today is actually Shireen's 15th wedding anniversary. Congratulations to you both.
Thank you. We both made it 15 years alive, so
Oh, of course. And to so many more beautiful years together. So tell us more about your family, Shireen.
So I have 2 young boys, Yessi and Salif. They're aged 10 and 5. I also have a stepdaughter who's 18 now. She's about to start university in September. When I first met my husband, she was just about to turn 3. So it is absolutely freaky. When she started applying for universities and going for interviews, I thought, oh my God, I have this child that I knew back then is now about to start university. It's just absolutely freaky. So there we are. Both my husband and I.
Time flies.
Yep, my husband and I, we both work in the civil service. We live in Newport, which is the first city you'll come across when you cross the English-Welsh border.
Okay, interesting. So let's talk about your career now. So give us a 30-second summary of what's happened since you graduated.
So I moved to Wales, initially wanting to work in an accountancy role, thinking that it would make sense. I ended up volunteering quite a lot. I ended up working in the charitable sector, or the third sector, as we call it here in Wales. And then I moved on to local government, working on the agendas of equalities, counter-extremism, Welsh language, migration, domestic abuse, a very wide range agenda. And I also volunteered on those matters outside work. So it came to a point a couple of years ago where I think the boundary between volunteering and work got too blurry, and I made the switch to the civil service. I currently am the chief exec of the Boundary Commission for Wales. We are the body that is responsible for electoral boundaries of the local authorities here in Wales, as well as the parliamentary constituencies. So that's what I do.
Sounds like you've got a lot of volunteering experience in addition to just doing work.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
I find it quite therapeutic, actually.
Wow, that is new, but that is nice. That is very nice to hear. We actually have a photo of you, so first photograph, and I want you to tell me what's happening here.
So this was actually the first time I was called to give evidence to one of the committees in the Welsh Parliament. This was actually specifically on getting new legislation in to allow 16 and 17-year-olds in Wales to vote in local elections.
Okay. So it was something that you had to play in.
Well, we were one of the organisations that the members of Parliament of the Welsh Parliament took evidence from. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Hey, wonderful stuff. Tell me, why is giving back so important to you now?
Because I think, having moved here, I think growing up in Singapore, I wasn't aware of my privilege. And that's something I only became really aware of after moving to Wales. I think, and seeing things from a different perspective, having a better understanding of what structural inequality looks like, what actually being, me in the position that I am, what that privilege looks like, and also be in positions where I am being discriminated against. And that's really opened up my eyes and thinking that you don't exist in a bubble. It's quite easy sometimes to just exist in a little bubble and not think about, all the horrible things that's going on. And if everyone did that, things wouldn't improve.
Yeah, definitely. And it's so nice to see that you've taken the experience that you had and channeled the energy out towards helping other people. What advice would you give young SMU graduates today? If you could share with them one piece of advice, what would it be?
Don't exist in a bubble. That would be my one piece of advice. Give back to your communities, especially at this point in time. I think circuit breaker that's what it's being called in Singapore, lockdown over here in Wales. It's really shone a spotlight on what power looks like in a pyramid, and lots of us are in the upper sections of that pyramid, and we need to be using our influence, our financial capabilities, our voice to help those who don't have that level of influence and who are struggling. Because lots of us, I'm very privileged. I've got a roof over my head. I'm safe. I've got food. My kids are safe. I can, print their schoolwork out for them, etc. Not a problem. Not everyone can do that, and it's really important that I am aware of that and do something about it. So for the SMU students, do not. It is so easy. It is so easy to be in that lovely little bubble with your friends and family, etc. Break out of it.
Yeah, great. Hey, that's great advice, and that will end our session with Shireen. So Shireen, thank you so much for taking time to be with us today. We know that your husband is waiting to spend time with you on this special day, with your family as well. From all of us at SMU, congratulations once again. Do continue making us proud, inspiring change around you, making the world a better place for everyone. Thank you very much, Shireen.
Thank you.
We'll see you around.
See you, bye.
Wales, we now move on to one of the largest and fastest growing economies. We have with us Wang Dan, popularly known as Daniel, who's agreed to join us and share his experiences with us. Daniel did his master's in applied finance and is an entrepreneur. He's founded and currently runs his own business. In addition, he also heads the SMU Alumni Chapter in Shenzhen and is on the International Advisory Council for China. So let's put our hands together and say, welcome, Daniel. Hello. Hi, Daniel. Are you able to hear us? Okay. Sure. So, okay, so I think Daniel's having a slight challenge with. Dan? Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and get back Daniel on the line, but meanwhile, we're going to move on to our next alumni. So let's invite Kaushal to come up. All right.
Go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you've enjoyed my previous conversation with Shireen, you are really going to like this one with our third guest. Now, he comes from an equally large, he's not that far away in Wales. He's in India, right? Is currently revolutionizing the industry that he's in, has been featured in local and international media. He graduated in 2006, is a great friend of mine, and fun fact, was a roommate of mine in College Green, SMU's hostel at Bukit Timah. However, instead of a cup of coffee, you are going to find a cup of tea in his hand, and he's going to tell you why. So let's welcome Kaushal Dugar from India. Hey, buddy.
Hey, man, good to see you, and always great, seeing fellow alums from SMU.
Absolutely. I think the honor is ours because we actually get a few minutes of your time, which I believe is very expensive these days.
Gee, not as expensive, and I would say not as meaningful as yours. Lovely work you are doing there. And I saw the work you do with the school in Jakarta. It's incredible. So yeah, I think that's an inspiration for us.
Thank you. I know. I hope that I'm able to inspire other people to also give back, because that's something we learned from SMU, and it's really what the SMU is all about. Hey, Kaushal, tell me one thing. How are you doing? You started your business. Tell me about it. Since you graduated in 2006, what's life been for you?
So I would say life's been interesting. Lots of ups and downs. More downs than ups. Immediately after graduating from SMU, I was very active with the Entrepreneurship Society at SMU. Founded that. Okay. So entrepreneurship was always something which I was passionate about. So no experience, no capital, no credibility. Boom, post SMU graduation, did my first startup. And believe it or not, it was in luxury limousine business in Singapore. We are the only company in Singapore which has a Maserati Quattroporte available as chauffeur driven.
Wow.
Yes. Great.
This was, of course, before the times of UberX.
Yes, so it was way before UberX. So I said, everyone needs that kind of premium experience. Why not make it easy? We made the entire experience to be able to book and kind of confirm online. So that really helped us capture a segment which didn't exist. But hey, I was a poor alum. I didn't have any money. I only had one borrowed car, and that didn't scale up very well. So I said, okay, let's not try that. Let's try something else. So did the second business in electronic waste recycling, that also in Singapore. That did scale up very well. So, but great experience, great interactions. And then after those, decided
Okay.
that, it's good to get some corporate experience. Was with KPMG Corporate Finance for a few years, 3+ years. Did incredible work, projects around Southeast Asia, Middle East. Then decided time for me to go back to my family, back to India, back to my roots, and that's how I ended up in tea, coming back to India.
Yeah, wow, that's what a story. So a lot of ups and downs, and it's brought you where you are. So let's bring up the first photograph that we have of Kaushal, and I think this is an article. No, let's go to the picture with the article. Let's talk about that because I think that would sum up your work, revolutionizing the tea industry. So tell us a little bit about this, Kaushal.
Yeah. So look, tea's been something which, literally it's the second most consumed beverage in the world after water. Everyone in the world drinks tea. But not many people know that tea is also an agriculture product. You would not have your fruits and vegetables more than 2 to 3 days old, but you're used to having teas months, if not years old. So we decided that if we can literally disrupt the entire supply chain, go direct from the source where the teas are produced to the end consumers, reduce the time from 6 to 12 months to literally a week or so, we would be able to provide you a beverage which truly will taste and make you feel like what it's in its true form supposed to be. And that's what T-Box was all about. T-Box is all about disrupting the supply chain, legacy 200-year-old supply chain, and bringing you the world's freshest teas. And India, fortunately, grows 25% of the world's production in teas. So we said, what better way than to go to an industry which is technically older than India and hopefully has a market which, with literally every country in your possibility.
Yeah, and I think, I remember when you came to Singapore many years ago, you shared with me how your family had been in the tea business for almost forever.
That's right. Yes. So, the only reason
So, okay, so Kaushal, share with us a little bit about how is Tea Box actually benefiting communities or giving back to communities around you back in India?
Yeah. So, Gulshan, tea industry in India is also India's second largest employer of organized labor after Indian Railways. It employs literally
Wow.
millions of people. Unfortunately, most of them work on less than $2 a day. I mean, technically $3 a day. So if you're earning less than $3 a day, it's very hard to provide for your family, be it in terms of educational opportunities, living standards, all of that. And the reason why they were earning so less is because the producers at the start of the value chain were getting, or rather were selling their teas as single digit margins. So our idea was, why not we sell directly to the consumers, bring back a lot more value, hence a lot more margins back to the source, and in the process give back to the producers or to the growers so that they are able to pass it down to the folks who are at the end, who are literally at the bottom of the pyramid when it comes to the industry. And we have seen that by doing that, by giving a lot more brand visibility to the estates or to the growers, very much like wine does, we have been able to significantly enhance the price points of the teas at which they are able to get from us, the price points at which we buy from them. And in some way, directly or indirectly, it has impacted a lot of folks. That's the biggest benefit which we want to bring in this industry, which is so labor intensive. And all of this is because for the longest time, the industry is controlled by the biggest players who have sought nothing but pure profits at the cost of everything else. So we thought, it's time to change that.
What you're doing is fantastic because you're actually being able to impact communities at a very ground level and help them be more monetarily or economically rewarded. So I think you're doing something that's really great. Hey, Kaushal, it's been wonderful catching up with you and hearing. Know that you have so much to share with us. I can feel that. I know there's so many stories and examples you want to share, and I look forward to catching up with you next time. Thanks once again for sharing your story and being part of this book. I'm sure it will inspire future entrepreneurs to revolutionize existing business models in their respective industries. I wish you all the best and look forward to catching up with you.
Hey, thanks,
Cheers,
Shi. It's always a privilege. Thanks. Take care. Bye.
Comes from one of the largest and fastest growing economies in the world, China. We have one gun. Hey, Daniel, welcome aboard. Welcome to the show. I hope that we can hear you better now.
Yeah, here goes.
Can you hear us?
Yes. Sorry,
okay.
Just now there's
so Daniel,
a issue.
Tell us a little bit about. No worries. These things happen, buddy. Hey, so tell us a little bit about what you've been doing since you graduated from SMU.
Okay, actually, after I graduated from SMU, I joined a macro hedge fund in Singapore. I worked there for almost 3 years. Then I decided to start my own business because at that time I feel like my learning curve is pretty flat. So I decided to risk at my young age to start my own fund, my own business in China. So after that, I went back to China to start my own firm in Shenzhen. That's actually what I'm doing right now. Yeah.
Excellent. So tell me, I know you're really busy because you run your own business as an entrepreneur, but what are you doing to give back to the community from your side?
Okay. From two perspectives. One, my community, one is forming is kind of like a business community. Okay, the massive market, the clients that I'm serving. Okay, actually, one of the most important thing I'm doing right now here is comparing to Singapore, compared to US, compared to any other developed markets. The financial market here is not that mature, and the people here have very unrealistic return expectations and risk understanding of the markets. And I'm doing the investment management business. So a lot of the time, energy, and the money that I invest are trying to do the investor education, trying to help the people here to understand more about return, understand more about the risk. Okay, this is one. This is for my business side. The other is that of course, about SMU. SMU has helped me so much. So I think I think I'm so honored and so lucky that I can start my own business, do what I want here in China. So I think I need to give back something that to the SMU. At least to share some of my experience with the students so that they can learn from me. So we last year actually we launched a mentorship program trying to help the students to get the hands-on techniques and skills in the financial investment management industry.
Yeah, and I think, Daniel, I read that you set up the Alumni Chapter in Shenzhen, as well as are a member with the International Advisory Council of China.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
hey, that's great stuff, man. So, it's really nice to see that apart from keeping yourself busy with work, you're also making time to educate communities around you on finance, as well as give so much back to SMU in your role as a mentor, as the head of the Alumni Chapter, as well as the International Advisory Council in China. So Daniel, hey, thank you so much for your time. It was great catching up with you. I wish you all the best in your business, and do keep the name of SMU flying high in China. And I'll see you around soon.
Okay, sure. Bye-bye.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, this wraps up our segment. As promised, we've had the opportunity to catch up with 3 spectacular alumni who are making a huge impact in their communities. And I think it's really what the SMU spirit is all about. It's not just about getting a degree, it's about creating impact. And today, we have seen that no matter which part of the world we are in. So to all of you watching, thank you once again for being with us. Don't forget to get your copy of the Imagine Better book to know more about how our alumni have been imagining better. Now, let's go back to Dr. Bervin as he officially wraps up this book launch. Dr. Bervin, please.
Welcome back, everybody, and I hope you enjoyed the 3 segments that were just run out. And, I took a little while just to listen to some of the reflections, whether it was the stories of Gulshan or Brian, or maybe even, Ivan, Jade. It dawned on me on one thing, that while this project may have started with the idea of actually raising funds for needy, financially challenged SMU students, it dawned on me that actually it's all about us being able to influence the stories of others. So to me, that was the one thing I've taken out from at least the sharings that have gone on. Well, this event was brought to you by the alumni, and of course it brought together the community, the staff, students, and it has just been a wonderful thing of just bringing that community together. It is such initiatives that are important, in particular going through the times that we are going through right now. If I do a bit of a shout out for our alumni as well, in case you don't already know, we do have an alumni microsite out there that was specially created, put together with by the alumni and by the staff of the Office of Alumni Relations. If you haven't heard about it, you can see this QR code that's being flashed out there now. Go scan it, and it'll take you to the alumni microsite called Better Connected. And there you will find a host of resources and webinars and things that you can actually just take part in, watch, listen to some podcasts that are being put on up there for you. And you can also connect with other alumni at this microsite. Now, talking about initiatives that our alumni have put together for other people, there is one more that is coming up, and it's called the SMU Challenge. Now, ideally, it would have been really nice for people to get together for a run, and but of course, given current times, we can't do this. So the SMU Challenge is actually a virtual run, and the university hopes again to bring together our community to actually, run for a cause, as it were. And we hope to have about 5,000 alumni, staff, faculty, students just get together and put a little bit of, put some steps into your exercise regime. And then while you're doing that, contribute to, again, the Alumni Community Fund. Now, please look out for the details of of how you can do this. You can check this out as at the SMU Alumni Giving social media pages, and this should be coming out to you very, very shortly. Well, we have come to the end of our Facebook launch of the Imagine Better coffee table book. It has certainly been a wonderful time to bring this to you on behalf of the Office of Advancement and of the university. But certainly, I think it's important for us to now just reflect a little moment and to think, right, with that $50 that you could put to this alumni community fund. Again, as I said earlier on, it's not about the money. It's about the fact that there are individual stories out there, stories that you and I can actually influence and be a part of, because isn't that what all this is about? We actually make better real when we get involved in the lives of others and we improve their lives along the way. I'm Bervin Lee, happy to have been your MC today. I wish you all the very best. Stay well, be well, and as an SMU community, may we always not just work towards being the best in the world, but to be our very best for the world. Have a wonderful evening.